and welcome to the Gems Uncut podcast. I'm Abigail.
I'm Jake, lovely to be with you.
Episode 2.
I know.
Very exciting.
Thank you so much for all your kind comments after the first one.
Yes, so tell us what you've been up to, Jake. You've been on a few trips recently.
I have, yeah. So got a bit of a busy year this year. I went to the Carats mine in Canada. It's Canada's kind of first major diamond mine, been running 20 years. It's just into the Arctic Circle. So it's like minus 40 degrees. And it's an extraordinary mine. Everything that I thought I knew about diamond mining got completely thrown in the bin by this experience after 16 years. And I love learning. Hopefully you love learning. That's why you're here as well. Everything I thought diamond mining was easy. I thought diamond mining, there were lots of them, and it's actually an incredibly hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's such a big operation, isn't it?
So one of the things I didn't realise is I knew diamonds came up in a Kimberley pipe. So I kind of really basically went, okay, so one Kimberley pipe means one diamond mine, right? Absolutely not. In fact, there are just under 7,000 kimberlite pipes on the planet today. Just under 7,000 kimberlite pipes. There are not 7,000 diamond mines. Of those 7,000 kimberlite pipes, there are less than 1,000 of them which have diamonds. So most kimberlite pipes don't have diamonds in. Of those 1,000 that have diamonds, maybe 20 are economically viable. Maybe 20. But economically viable means different things. So economically viable might mean me and a few mates digging diamonds and we don't have to work our 9 to 5s. That's economically viable. Or it might mean I'm digging a mine that I can see from space.
And you can see.
And you can see some
space.
of them from space. Of those, there are only 7. There are only 7 what we call tier 1 diamond mines.
Can you reel them off? Am I testing you here?
Oh my gosh. Akati will be one of them.
Yeah.
The Premier mine, also known as the Cullinan mine, will be another. Very good. The one in Botswana, I can't remember its name, but the De Beers asset in Botswana will be another one.
Yeah.
There will be GK. Sorry, of course, GK in Canada as well. I believe is tier 1. There is the Angolan one. I can't remember. Luele, I think it's called. There's the Mir mine in Russia. I'm missing one.
Oh, 6 out of 7 is not bad. That is not bad.
Hopefully I've got all those right. But yeah, it really showed me that actually, you have 7,000 pipes, you have barely 7 diamond mines, and that number's going smaller all the time. 10 years ago, that was double digits. Today it's 7, and Diavik, one of those I mentioned, closes this year. So
yeah, did they give you any kind of idea on date?
In the next 6 months, they're not concentrating on pulling diamonds out now. They're concentrating on how they can. It's actually, that mine is built on a lake, so what they're going to do is they had to build this dike around the mine to be able to mine the diamonds. They're just going to break the dike, let it flood back in. First of all, bury all the rock that they dug out that's not a diamond. Obviously, there's lots of that. Push all that back in, break the dike, let the water come back in, flood the mine. Job done. And
context for the listener, why is it that it's closing?
It's never that they've run out of diamonds. You never close a diamond mine because you've run out of diamonds. You close a diamond mine because you can't get them out in an economic way anymore. So there's too few diamonds, or there could be the same amount of diamonds, but they're a lot lower down. So it's a lot more expensive. So that's, you want to know what kills a diamond mine? It's not that they run out, it's that they become too expensive to get out.
Jewellery in the media.
Yes.
A new segment for this week's
A new
podcast.
segment, and definitely a segment that I am less comfortable with because, and those of you who know me from other bits of the media that I do, I'm a Luddite, right? So you have all these wonderful news sources. Mine is Encyclopedia Britannica. I don't know modern celebrity culture.
Whereas that's where I come in.
Whereas that's where you have expertise, and I love it. So I said I love learning. Let's prove that I love learning. Tell me about pop culture.
So I have a couple of pictures for you to have a look at. So as we know, Jeff Bezos got married this past weekend.
He did.
obviously, where there's a big display of wealth, always comes a big display of jewellery. But we love it because we like to nosy. So I have some pictures here for you. So the first one is Lorraine Schwartz. So this is Jeff Bezos's now wife.
Thank you so much, because I was absolutely about to ask, who is Lorraine Schwartz?
Who is that?
Also, she is now Jeff Bezos' wife, but who is she in her own right?
I don't know.
Right, okay.
I don't know.
She's Jeff
I know
Bezos'
she's friends
wife.
with Eva Longoria, who's an actress.
Yes.
But I have to say, I didn't know she was until Jeff Bezos. So you're not alone there. It's not like she's...
And my wife showed me a video of Eva Longoria, who I do know. But I saw this hilarious video where she was at the wedding and she was walking with a wine, taking lots of photos of styling herself with wine, like pretending she was drinking, and then literally just put the wine off and walked away. And I was like, oh my gosh, that must be one of the most expensive pieces of wine just for a photo shoot. Anyway.
That's what they say. They say influencers in the wild, Jake. They say, gosh, influencers in the wild.
Is that the phrase?
Doing, that's the phrase.
Right, okay, influencers in the wild. I thought it was wild that she put down that wine. I want that wine.
And yeah, it probably was thousands of pounds, that glass of wine, wasn't it?
Criminal.
Yes, so Lorraine Schwartz is wearing a cushion cut pink diamond.
Yes.
So 20 to 30 carats.
Yeah.
Do you have a guess on the price at all?
So I'm going to confess right now, this is not my area of expertise. This is like fine jewelry. This is what goes into auction houses, and doesn't just go in. It's the number one item when it goes in. As you say, it's cushion shape. It's
massive.
It's massive.
Yeah. It's
a huge rock. It's quite light in colour. It's not a vivid pink. It's a lighter pink. It's not a problem. It's just a lighter pink. And we've got a closer up image here.
Now, me and Beth actually thought this was a different picture because it looks such a different shape.
It does. It looks almost oval here, but that's actually, it's just the optics.
And that one just looks huge. I think it's just the angle that they've got the picture at, isn't it?
I think so.
Because we couldn't work out if it was two separate rings.
It might be.
Oh, okay.
Because if you look at the shank, if you look at the band...
Yeah, it looks thinner.
It's very plain and thin. There, it's got accent stones. I think it has accent stones anyway, unless it's just a strange reflection.
Wow, so she's got over 60 carats worth of diamonds there in these two rings.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess 12 million.
Incorrect.
Go on.
2.5 million.
I'm way off. But also... Jeff Bezos, you cheap man.
Yeah.
What's going on? 2.6 million. You will have sneezes and coughing fits in which you earn more than 2.6 million. That is not 3 months of your salary, Jeff Bezos. You are cheap.
Yeah, he probably makes that in seconds.
Although he has just gone and got two of them, so maybe he's not so cheap. I don't know. Why do you, I don't understand. Why do you need two rings? I don't understand. Anyway, how lovely for her. A very, very beautiful pink diamond. And there's a lot less of them now in the world because the Argyle mine closed. I don't think these are Argyle, but the Argyle mine produced most of the world's pink diamonds, and that closed in 2020. So that's really interesting that she's gone pink diamond there. It's going to create a lot of demand for pink diamonds at exactly the time there is no supply for pink diamonds. Because the Argyle mine, which produced most of them, has now closed. The mine that produces the second most of them, the Mir mine, that's in Russia. So we don't buy those diamonds anymore. So that's really interesting.
It is interesting because the next person I'm about to show you is obsessed with emeralds, and there's emeralds everywhere on the red carpet at the moment. It feels like everyone's wearing them. But pink diamonds you don't see a lot. We're seeing a lot of cognac diamonds, a lot of yellow diamonds.
Yeah.
But not a lot of pink diamonds. That must be why.
Oh, yeah, and that's why. Essentially, Argyle it coloured in the diamond world. Then when it disappeared, it leaves this huge void. We'll come quickly to our second person.
Do you know who this is, Jake?
I've not got a clue. She's a very beautiful brunette lady, but other than that, and she's wearing some incredible emerald.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're going to have to enlighten me.
So this is Kendall Jenner.
Kendall Jenner, okay.
She's a Kardashian.
Right.
Daughter of Bruce Jenner.
Right,
who
I know who that is.
Yes.
Yeah. Former Olympian.
Yes. So she's got 250 carats here of Colombian emeralds on. The necklace is 110 carats in total, with the anchor stone is a pear-cut 65 carat Colombian emerald.
Oh, it's a dream.
And the earrings are 70 carats pear cuts. So she's dripping in Colombian emeralds.
that is bejeweled, isn't it?
And the colour on them.
That's absolutely bejeweled.
Even the clarity from this pap shot miles away, I think looks unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, they are clearly the top end of the Colombian emerald market. I don't know the price. And the reason it's a bit more defendable here. So whilst large pink diamonds do make their way to auction houses, the largest Colombian emeralds, they make their way to a single auction house. And it's based in Dubai. It's called Gemporia. And the whole principle, the whole ethos of that auction house, it was actually founded by the guy who used to own the Colombian emerald mine. His name is Dev Shetty. He used to own this mine, and he used to get really annoyed that emeralds just like this, his biggest emeralds, would go to an auction house. They'd announce the price that it sells for, obviously, because it's good marketing for them. And then the person owning it would never be able to, their jewelry would never grow in value, because the next time someone wants to buy it, well, they know, I know what you paid, so I don't want to pay more than you paid. So I'm just going to stop when it reaches the price you paid. So Dev Shetty said, right, okay, not doing that anymore. We're going to found our own auction house, Gemporia. And now all the world's best Colombian emeralds, Mozambique rubies, sapphires, all these top coloured gems, they now go to Gemporia and they go to auction, but they go to auction behind a curtain. No one ever finds out. You don't even get to see a picture of them. Literally,
really? So you're going purely on word of mouth?
It's no photos. You get an invitation to go. It's no photos. You are not allowed to publish anything. You're not even allowed to publish the final closing price. It's so secretive.
Do you know anyone that's ever been? Anyone in the gem industry?
I'm not allowed to answer that question.
Have you got an NDA?
Huh?
You've got an NDA?
No, Dev is a very good friend of mine.
Oh, this is the Uncut Gems podcast, though,
It is.
Jake.
Okay, fine. It is the Uncut. The answer was, do I know someone who's been? I know of them. I know Dev who runs it.
Yeah.
But and Dev's told me this is who's there, this is there. So I know a lot of the people who I know are the people who run the team. In terms of people who are successful, Dev won't even tell me that.
Wow. Okay. So for our next segment,
Yes.
I would love if you would summarise the story into 3 buzzwords before we start.
Fortune,
Okay.
adventure, tragedy.
Okay. Interesting. Now, I've not heard this story before, have I?
No. So this is one of the stories that I don't really tell on TV, largely because of the tragedy part of it. But it is the story of one of the greatest pioneers in the gemstone industry. His name is Julius Petsch. Today, he's 80 years old, retired from the industry, but his list of achievements is incredible. He's a founding member of the International Coloured Stone Association, the ICA, one of the largest trade bodies. He was the CEO of the famous Sandawana Emerald Mine, which is the Zimbabwe emeralds. Beautiful material. He was one of the leading consultants in the Zambian Emerald Project. But what I want to tell you is the story that goes before all of those. So we look at Julius Petsch, the legend. I want to talk about Julius Petsch, the man, before that point. And we have to go back in time. So we're going to go back to Madagascar. And we're going to go back to Madagascar to the early 1960s, late 1950s. So this is a Madagascar today is a developing country. I mean, back then it was real backwater. It's still very much a colony of France. It feels like it's getting the raw end of colonialism at this point in time. And it feels that way because it is, let me be clear. And there's one hotel in the capital. So Julius Petsch is Idar Oberstein. He's the head of a gem cutting business in Idar Oberstein, the mecca of gemstone cutting in Germany. Anyone in the fancy premium cutting end of the market trained in Idar Oberstein.
Glenn
Lara did.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Rudy Babito, who I've met.
His family comes from Idar Oberstein. Paul Wild, the company is based in Idar Oberstein. That's the capital of fine gem cutting, and the Petsch family business is specialising in tourmaline. So it's really hot in the UK right now. None of us can sleep well.
No.
But we'll get at least the benefit of a fan in the bedroom. He doesn't even have that. He's there sleeping. He's not got a hotel room because the only hotel is fully booked. So he's sleeping on the sofa of his gem dealer, which is quite strange, but that's what he's doing. Sleeping on the sofa of his gem dealer, except he's not sleeping because he's got insomnia. And on the bookshelf is a French version of Encyclopedia Britannica, except it's just to do with mineralogy and it's just to do with Madagascar. So It's not light reading, okay? I can understand why he picked it up, trying to make himself fall back to sleep. And he's flicking through this book. He's German, but it's all in French, but he can read French. So he's reading French. He's flicking through. And he's a tourmaline expert. And suddenly something stops him. And it is the most iconic German symbol. It's the Mercedes-Benz emblem. And you might go, well, hang on, what on earth is the Mercedes emblem doing? Mercedes-Benz emblem, you know, the 3-point star. What on earth is that doing in a mineralogy book? And it's because what you're seeing is a slice of tourmaline with the most distinctive 3-rayed star in the middle of it. And it literally, Julius, it stops him in his tracks. And he's dealt with so many tourmalines. At this point, Paraiba hadn't been discovered, so not Paraiba tourmaline, but pretty much every other tourmaline. But he never witnessed this before. So he wakes up following morning, and his host says to him, how did you sleep last night? And he says, well, terrible, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about this. And he's got the book with him. He points to the star, points to this tourmaline. He goes, I've never seen tourmaline like this. And yeah, it says it's here in Madagascar. Where can I find this? And the gem dealer says, look, I've no idea. Never seen that in my life. And he goes, okay. Well, it's discovered apparently by this guy, Leon Kraft. Where can I find Leon Kraft? And the gem dealer goes, okay, you're asking the wrong person. You're asking the wrong person. He says, who do I ask then? He goes, and he points to his wife, who's currently serving the breakfast. And he goes, well, this is Leon Kraft's daughter.
Oh, okay.
So when I talk about strokes of good fortune, the fact he couldn't sleep and picked up that book, the fact he then found the Mercedes-Benz emblem and stopped because it's so iconic to a German, to a German. The fact that he happens to be staying in the house of the daughter of Leon Kraft, who was mentioned in this book.
It's meant to happen.
So absolutely, completely agree. So he, so they go, right, okay, so they swap sides. So the host goes and serves breakfast, and Julius is talking to Leon Kraft's daughter. And Leon Kraft's no longer there, no longer alive at this time. But she says, I do know some of the old miners he worked with. So they get into contact, completely different part of Madagascar. But they arrange to go on this safari. Now, when I say safari, what do you think of?
The Sahara Desert, lions, a nice open top bus, a lovely holiday.
Yeah, it's a holiday, right? That's not what safari means. That is not a safari. A safari originally means an expedition. Right. It's an expedition into the African wilderness. That's safari, not the Insta version that we're so familiar with today. So they go, right, we've got to prepare a safari. Right. So they hire the jeeps that you talked about. They hire those jeeps, and they have to get up at 4:30, and they go on this 2.5-hour off-road expedition, and they pull up after 2.5 hours, and all the drivers say, right, out. So they get out of the jeeps, and Julius says, oh, we're there now. And the guy who used to work with, his name's Razimon, the guy who used to work with Leon Kraft says, no, we're nowhere near. It's just the trucks aren't going to take us any further. And they've got all of this gear. So they're like, well, how are we going to get all this gear, this mining gear, prospecting gear? How are we going to get this up to wherever we got to go? So they go to a local village, and they pay the village elder some money. And the village elder goes, right, you, out of his village, you're going to go and help these guys. And that's part of safari. You know, you go and get the locals with the expertise, and they're carrying the gear. Yeah,
who understand the land. And
they understand the land, and they know roughly where they're trying to get to. So they go, okay, fine. So they set off by foot on this expedition, leaving at about 7 a.m. They've got to go through snake-infested rainforest. They've got to navigate multiple fast-flowing rivers.
Wow. So he obviously thought it was important enough just by this one picture. He was willing to do it.
He was like, we're going. And the problem with these fast-flowing rivers isn't that they're fast-flowing. It's that they are infested with crocodiles.
Oh, gosh.
So,
worst nightmare.
I mean, genuinely, the risks are extraordinary. And they are hiking from 7 a.m. through all of this material, carrying all their pickaxes, their shovels, their prospecting gear. And eventually they get to, they can see these storm clouds gather. It's got dark, but you can see the green of these thunder clouds gathering. And there's a thunderstorm about to descend. You can barely see where you're walking, so you're now not even able to avoid the snakes. So the local villagers say, look, this is getting really dangerous. Like, forget crossing crocodile-infested rivers dangerous. We could get flooded here. Like, this is really bad. So we need to find a hill and we need to make camp on the hill, regardless of where we're going. So they do exactly that. They find this rise, they find this hill, and they make camp. And the thunder, just huge tropical thunderstorm slashing down. So again, Julius gets barely any sleep because you're thinking, I'm just going to get washed away here. Now, thankfully, what they've done is they've camped at the top of the hill. So the rainwater's going to wash away, right? Rather than they camp at the bottom, they're flooded.
Yeah.
They wake up the next morning, and you can imagine you've gone through no sleep the night before, as in the previous night. You've gone on a journey through truck by truck for 2.5 hours off-road. That's not a massage. You've then gone on a 15-hour hike, carrying all your gear through snake-infested rainforest and crocodile-infested jungle, and then rivers rather. And then you've just had another sleepless night, wondering whether you're going to get washed away. He comes out of the tent, and what he sees is his whole dream. Because literally on the ground, bear in mind, when they made these camps, they couldn't say anything, it was pitch black. He wakes up in the morning, and on the ground, it's like looking at the most starry sky imaginable. But you're looking down, because you've got all this earth, but you've also got all these reflections coming off this tourmaline embedded in the ground, where the rainwater has washed away the topsoil and exposed all of these tourmaline crystals for you. Where they happen to have camped was what we call the tailing pile. So when you mine, we know the gemstones are there. You don't pick the gemstones out at the time. You mine a lot of earth, you move it over to an area, and then you start rummaging through that area to pick out the gemstones. And when the mine had closed the first time, there's this big pile, massive pile of ore that they were going to go through at some point and filter through.
Which is what they camped on.
They camped on it because it was the highest point in the area, unknowingly. So they pitched their camp on this, and the rainwater had washed off some of that. And so they're literally sleeping on this pile of treasure.
Another moment of fate.
The treasure that they'd all been looking for. And this created one of the most extraordinary businesses Madagascar has ever witnessed. Julius spent well over a million Deutschmarks at the time, well over 1 million Deutschmarks buying excess army equipment in Germany for the mining, then would arrange for it to be transported to Madagascar. Remember that road that never existed? He literally paid for a road to go all the way to the mine, because otherwise how do you get your material out? They ended up hiring 200 Madagascan locals, including from the original village where they'd hired those the safari support from, and it was one of Madagascar's most successful businesses in the mining industry. And Julius, he didn't know it at the time. But remember, it was that special Mercedes-Benz emblem in the tourmaline that had lured him there. He wasn't just after any tourmaline. That would later come to be identified by the Gemological Institute of America as a brand new discovery of tourmaline. It's now known to the industry as lidicoatite tourmaline, exceedingly rare. And it's so rare they don't even bother cutting it most of the time now. So instead, rather than cutting it, you just slice it to try and get the Mercedes-Benz emblem out of it. And it's just the most magical story. Fortune, adventure, but it does end in tragedy. So in 1967-68, the Madagascan government became communist. And the communist government saw this huge success story. 200 locals employed, probably the biggest concentration of Western machinery, industrial machinery in Madagascar. You've got a new infrastructure being built in road networks and exports. And the communist government said, we want that. So despite the huge amount of effort, the huge amount of risk, despite all of the investment, the government went, okay, we're having it. And they just took it. They confiscated absolutely everything from Julius. So he lost everything, didn't pay for it, he lost everything. And just said, thank you, goodbye, get out. Kicked him out of Madagascar. And that's tragedy for Julius. The tragedy is they didn't even make the mine work. So even though they took over this incredibly thriving operation, corruption, disinterest, lack of passion led to the whole mine collapsing, not collapsing physically, but collapsing in sense of nobody working there, no longer being viable within a very, very short period of time. And so the Lidicoatite treasure remains unexploited.
It's almost like no one ever really wanted it to, like it was abandoned the first time, abandoned the second time.
Well, interestingly, so 10 years after that, around about 87, the Madagascan government realised their mistake, or a new government realised the previous mistake. By this point, the machinery had been looted. The road is unusable. None of the expertise that was there at the time or passion was there anymore. But the government said, Julius, okay, if you come back, you can have it all back. And he's like, what does have it all back mean? Like the machinery's no good. I'd have to go and buy new machinery. The road's no good. I'd have to go and rebuild a new road. I'd have to go and find the right people again. And he went, he's like, are you going to pay for any of that? No, but you can mine there again. And he just said, are there any assurances what happened last time won't happen again? They're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
And there's nothing to go back to.
And he's just like, no, there's nothing to go back there to. And we know, like every great hero story, out of tragedy, look at what he went on to do. Sandawan Emerald, consulting on the Zambian Emerald, founding the ICA. I mean, it's an incredible legacy that Julius Petsch leaves the gem world. And it's one that hardly ever gets talked about. But yeah, I think, I wouldn't say it all started. It all started when he took over the business when he was 19 years old after his father suffered a tragic heart attack. Massive change for him at 19 years. That's when it started. But I think the story tells more than all the accolades. I think the story tells the grit that is required to make it in the gem trade. I think it tells that kind of, I call miner's reason, where it makes no rational sense to anyone other than a gem hunter or a miner to, go off into safari to this unknown destination. And it shows the huge amount of luck that anyone in the gem trade needs to make it. It shows all of those virtues that Julius had. So yeah, that's the story of Julius Petsch, which I think is a wonderful story of grit, determination, but how actually sometimes you can do all the right things. You can look after the people, you can find the beautiful gems, you can do everything the right way. But even then, it sometimes doesn't work out.
Yeah. So in terms of Madagascar, we now know it as the land of gems.
Yes.
Where did that kind of leave off in terms of being such a key player in the industry now?
How did that come about? Well, it starts hundreds of millions of years ago.
Right.
So it starts at the breakup of the Pangaea supercontinent. We know tectonic movement creates the conditions for creating a lot of gemstones. That's why Colombia has amazing emerald. It's because it sits where the Andes mountains are, which basically a collision point, a friction point of two tectonic plates. Almost every single gemstone you can point to that happening. Pangaea breaking up was the biggest event of its kind. And when you look at the supercontinent breaking up, right at the heart of the supercontinent, right now, Madagascar is an island off the coast of Africa. At the time, what we know to become Madagascar was right at the heart of this Pangaea supercontinent. It was in the middle of all of this chaos that was gem creating chaos. So that's why it's such a naturally blessed, you go, hang on, why isn't the UK similarly an island off a continent? Why has that not got a similar abundance of gemstones? Because it wasn't right at the heart of this breakup of Pangaea. Yeah.
And what would you say are the leading gemstones coming out of Madagascar at the moment?
Sapphires. So, you can get some beautiful fancy sapphires coming out of Madagascar. I also think if you break out of the traditional main gems, Madagascar's got some extraordinary material. Sphene. Wonderful sphene to come out of Madagascar, a place called Ambilube. Demantoid garnet, not so much anymore, but at one point, particularly at the north, a place called Ambanja, it was a tidal mangrove mine. Wonderful demantoid garnets coming out of Madagascar. And the thing about it is it's almost unrivaled in its variety. Not many people know it, but there are emeralds out of Madagascar. There are rubies out of Madagascar. So it's a really gem-rich area. But if you were to ask me what is Madagascar's top gem, I'd probably say the sapphires.
Do you have any in your collection?
Sapphires, yeah, they're pink. The pinks, particularly from Madagascar, when they're really fine, are they're special. Ilokaka material. It's good.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
That is the end of episode 2. As always, if you have any stories that you'd like us to cover, any talking points you'd like to tell us about and want Jake to give some insight on, please do let us know.
100%.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.